Alright guys, so what I'm going to be talking about is the black basing technique that a lot of you have asked about or just wondering what that was or how to achieve this technique. This is a technique that I've been doing for about, I don't know, several months now. I've only been modeling for like a year, maybe a year and a half, something like that. But anyway, I just pick up on like other person's techniques a lot and just real quickly, and I do have a lot of the tools and resources to get things like that accomplished, just different techniques to make your aircraft look better and look more realistic in any way possible. And so this technique I did for my F4 Phantom. This is the F4. It's kind of a little big to fit on the screen, so I'm just kind of show you portions of this aircraft at a time. This is the F4 Phantom. This is the F4G Revell kit in 1/32 scale that I purchased at Hobby Lobby for $32. It was originally on for $54, so $54.99, so pretty much $55. But I picked it up and decided to build it. This is my first 1/32 scale build. I usually like to stick to the 48 scale just because they're smaller, much smaller, just like 1/72 scale are to 1/48. They're smaller and they're just easier to put on shelves and you have more room to store them. But anyway, I did this whole black facing technique to this whole aircraft all over the body first before I laid its original paint colors in and on top of it, and before masking and as well on the bottom. As you can see, I'm in the process of actually masking the wheel wells as well as the nose wheel well. I will be doing that and painting that white in the air brakes right in the back here as well. But this is my F4 Phantom, the Revell version. This is the F4G. The kit says it's an F4G, but I'm actually turning it into an F4E because the kit does allow for that option, for that modification, you could say, because the F4G has a different mounted under the radar portion. This is actually the gun on the E version, and it does have different tail sections. That's every just about everything I know about the differences between those two. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that, but I am going to be talking about the technique and how it's done. And anybody can do this as long as you have an airbrush, because you're going to need to paint fine lines and just get it to like just paint around panel lines and around rivets. So you cannot accomplish this technique with a regular brush, hand brush, paint brush, whatever you want to call it. So you're gonna need an airbrush. Any airbrush works because you're able to. I mean, you want your lines thin, but you can get away with having them thicker because a lot of the cheaper airbrushes I see people use, they just won't allow for a thinner stream, for that thinner paint stream to come out. So whatever airbrush you have, I like to work with a thin, for the second portion of this video, I like to work with the thin lines over the black paint, and I will be showing you all that in a moment. So I do recommend getting a smaller needle for your airbrush. I have hold on. I have this airbrush and I do use it. Light is kind of weird. Hold on. So I have this airbrush and I do use it. This is my third airbrush that I've gone through, and this is my favorite. And this whole box I ordered on Amazon for around $130. It came with the airbrush. It came with 3 different needles for it. It came with 3 different fan caps for it. And it did come with the hose and for the tools for this airbrush as well. So I really like that. But anyway, I do have a .25, a .66, and a .38 millimeter needle sizes, so I will be doing that. I do recommend you use the small point 2 or smaller, 0.25 or smaller needles for your airbrushes, whatever. Wherever you order your airbrushes, I suggest you just check out to see if they have the needles for that specific airbrush that you bought. But first of all, these are the elevators that I'm going to be showing you how to do this technique. These are the elevators for my F4 Phantom that I am working on. Today I was actually going to continue on my F4, but I decided to make this video for you because quite a few of you are asking on how to complete this black basing technique and the whole marble coat on that black basing technique. And I know it might sound confusing now, but I'll show you what it is and I'll tell you and guide you through the steps of all that. So, like I said, these are the elevators for my F4 Phantom that I have not painted yet. I did get the seam lines and the marks and the lines, when the factory lines, sanded down off of these, and just got it smoothed down. I did wash them. I do wash my kits before I start modeling them, but I do recommend getting 70% IPA. It's just rubbing alcohol. That's all it is. You can pick that up at Walmart for around $3, something like that, $2. You can even find it for $1. I'm sure you can get it at the dollar store. But what I like to do is, before I paint anything, I like to take a paper towel. This is just a regular paper towel, kitchen towel, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure your local grocery store sells these. And take the 70% rubbing alcohol. I don't use the 90% because I like to have 40% water or just other liquid in here, and then actually 70% alcohol. But it does serve as a nice cleaner for just to get all the oils, all the finger oils that I've put on these things while touching them and everything. But all you do is just rub it on there, make sure you get all that oil, all that dirt off of there, and just let it sit out to dry. This way the paint will stick on there better when you paint it on, and just leave it. You only have to leave it on there for like a minute to dry, even less sometimes, but just like to go over the whole thing. This way you get all the dirt and all the gunk and everything in it off, and all the finger oils, and the paint sticks better to it. Alright, now that that's done, next thing you want to do is you want to put a black coat. See, they're already dry. But what you want to do is put a black coat on these. You can prime it. I don't suggest priming it with a black coat. I suggest going straight for like a flat black paint. For primer, I actually love using the Testors flat black paint bottles. They are extremely well. They work. They're an enamel based paint, so they stick. If you have any other acrylic that doesn't stick to paint very well, the acrylic will definitely lay nice and flat, nice and strong, and not come off of this enamel coat when you put it on first on these elevators or whatever you're working on. So this I got at Michael's for around, like, I think they sell for $1.79 a bottle. And they're like half-ounce bottles, so they work. No, they're not half-ounce. They are 1/4 ounce bottles, so they work well for that. Hold on, let me see the video is focusing well. All right. So what you want to do is you want to take a flat black. You can even do a gloss black. It doesn't really matter. I only suggest, though, using gloss black if you're painting metallics. But I suggest you use flat black enamel paint just because it sticks to plastic better than acrylic does. Therefore, you can paint and do whatever you're going to do with this piece of plastic without actually ripping that paint off easily. So get this, just use an enamel-based paint or a lacquer-based paint on there, but it has to be black. It can't be light black, it can't be whatever. I don't know if there are different shades of black, but it can't be, it has to be black, and it has to be flat if you're working with just regular colors, normal colors that you would work with any of other, your aircraft, your tanks, your helicopters, whatever. But after these have dried, these pieces have dried with your washing off with the 70% IPA or rubbing alcohol, you want to take these and you want to paint them all black, and you want to put a nice smooth coat on there down, and just wait till they dry. I usually, for this stuff, only takes about 10 minutes, 20 minutes to dry. So I'll get, my painting booth is actually in the garage just because this stuff smells really bad. So let's go down there and paint these black and wait for them to dry. And then I'll start making another video for the next steps. All right.